The United Christian Faith Ministries Health and Wellness Department. My name is Sandra Williams. I'm going to be your host today. And joining me is Brother Donnell Tuniers, who is going to show us how to start our own home gardens. He's going to start with showing us how to prep the box, and he'll also show us how to prep container gardens, as well as deal with some of the common issues we may experience when gardening. How are you today, Brother Donnell?
I am doing marvelous in this heat.
Yeah, it's pretty hot today. So let's just ask you a few questions. What got you into home gardening?
Well, first off, I just got fascinated with the whole gardening things, went through some things, and I just started learning about all the different ways of growing stuff and started figuring out how much money it was saving me and how easy it was to grow your own vegetables right here at home.
Okay, and how long have you been doing that?
Well, I've been doing it roughly for about 10 years now, and I just fell in love with it. It's just become my passion, and I just want everybody to try to grow something at their homes now.
I see you have a garden box here. You have some crates there. So what do you want to get started with today?
Well, I'm going to start off by showing some of the things that I started my garden with. And one of the things was, so I was always having the problem of where am I going to get my dirt from, how am I going to get my soil, right? So eventually I was buying all these different bags of soil from the store and everything, and it got to be so expensive. So as I did my research, I found out that you can just not even use a lot of soil to grow very many vegetables and different plants. One of the things I'm going to demonstrate and show you guys is how to use less dirt and use something that can make your vegetables grow good and provide fertilizer to the soil.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Let's see.
Real easy, real simple. All right, we all know leaves are everywhere. They're free. I will stop in front of your house. If you bag your leaves up, I will stop in front of your house and grab every bag of all your leaves, because leaves are so essential to good, healthy plant growth. And it can save you a lot of money, and it's free. They're everywhere. They're in your yards, people throwing them out, and what have you. All right, so here we have a bag of leaves that I picked up for free, right? Here's a bucket that I got off the side of the road. So what we're gonna do here, you're gonna fill this bucket up, this container up. Now mind you, leaves have so much different nutrients to provide, and it's a natural fertilizer to your plant. And people think you gotta have so much soil for your plant. So what I do, take all these leaves and I stuff them in the container extremely tight. Do you think that this is gonna grow with all these leaves in there? People always say, well, how is that gonna grow? Real simple. Most roots of plants are no longer than this here. Maybe 6 inches the roots go down. They're not even that deep. Okay. So you don't need a lot of soil. All right, so here's my soil right here, got prepared. So here we go.
So now, we're putting about 75% of the container is going to be leaves, and the remaining part will be my soil.
You got it.
Okay.
That right there. And once you pack that in like that, you got a full plant, full pot that you bury very little soil, and it's going to regrow. So to prove to you that I do this here all the time, this is one of my containers that I used right here to show you a demonstration of this here. As you can see, look at this here.
Okay, it already started to break down.
And turn to dirt. Because that's basically how you make a lot of the different soils and dirt. I only had soil right there, so I grew off of this here so many different plants off of it, and every year all I do is repack it with leaves and use the soil. I never have to buy much dirt, period, if at all, because I turn them over and pack it back up and bring my pot back up. It's going to fall to a certain extent, but you can build it right back up and it'll be just fine.
Okay. Now I do have a question. I noticed that your leaves are a little wet, so am I wanting to use leaves that are wet and have been bagged up? But if I have the leaves fall during the fall and they're still very dry, can I use that to pack the bottom? Does it matter if there's moisture on the leaves, or if I just use fresh leaves that have fallen?
Good question, because first of all, leaves are very, like, when they get wet and the moisture in there, it starts making these different concoctions of different funguses and everything that helps for plant growth. So no matter if they're wet or not, they're in a breaking down process. And the breaking down process allows it to break down and start the nutrition process. It's gonna have, and then leaves have a lot of worms in it. It's gonna create natural worms. The worms come in, eat the leaves up, poop it out, natural fertilizer. So it breaks down the process of it, and it actually helps the plant to stay relatively so healthy. And also, with all the leaves in there, good drainage. You need a pot. Make sure your pot have holes in it. Because the pot have holes in it, it's going to drain, and that will prevent root rot. Root rot is when, it's just like us. If we sit in water, it causes us, our skin will probably fall off our bones because we need a mixture of water, air, and sunlight. And this plant needs the same thing, water, air, and sunlight. So the actual roots have to get some type of airflow into them. And with the leaves, it grows through the leaves, it gets airflow and also the nutrients from it. Now, I'm gonna go get a plant and destroy it to show you guys how deep these roots go. This is one of my plants, and this is jalapeno plant, right?
Okay.
Because I love y'all so much, and I want to prove to you guys that you don't have to worry about having a lot of soil up in your pot. I'm gonna pull this plant out just to show you how deep the roots are. All right, look at here. Now,
Maybe 3 or 4 inches.
right, so why do you need to fill up a whole entire bucket with soil? Crazy. You don't really need it. That's the furthest, that's about the furthest your roots will actually grow on most plants. They don't go all the way to the bottom all the time. Mainly they stay right there at the top.
Okay.
Now, why do I have all this soil in there? Because I reuse it for different things. But also, I still have my regrowing process with the rotating the leaves up in there every year. All these trees back here, fall leaves, I rake them up and I refill my pots up, and I don't have to buy no dirt. And it keeps my plant with lots of nutrition. Okay, so that's one of the easy ways. And finding containers, people throw containers out all the time on the side of the road. I stop and pick them up. I don't care, whatever it is. You can basically grow in anything, a tub, a milk jug. All you gotta do is have some holes in the bottom of it. Anybody can grow something. You don't need a lot. So you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money. This is what I started out with. When I first started out with was this method here. And I loved it because I was able to move it around. If I wanted to move it inside, if I want to move it to the shade or anything like that, I love this method here. It's 2 milk crates. Now, I know y'all did a milk crate challenge where y'all was falling down. Well, this is the challenge I want y'all to do. So everybody got these milk crates laying around their house. And I'm going to show you how to utilize these milk crates and make it efficient to grow things. All right, this is some landscaping fabric. You can get a whole roll of this here for about $5. Dollar General, some other places that actually sell this here, but it's very inexpensive.
Okay.
All right. I just lay it over like this here. All right, and then I'll just push it in. Boom.
Okay. So I've created my own container by just adding a few yards of the landscaping.
There it is.
Okay. Okay.
Right there. And this here, landscaping fabric will not allow your dirt to run out, go into any different areas or whatever like that. It will stay right in there. And you can just put it like this here and just cut the excess material around it. Put your plant in there and you use the same method that you use with the leaves.
Okay.
You grab your leaves, fill it up, pack it up, and put the same amount of soil in there. I done grew sweet potatoes, large sweet potatoes in these very same crates.
Okay, and they grow right down inside of the leaves?
Grow right down inside of them.
Okay.
And you won't even, it's no difference because you can grow, it's so crazy, you can grow all this stuff in wood chips, coffee grinds, and not have a tap of dirt. And you can grow these things. A lot of people don't know that. And that's one of the big things right there. All right. So, but if you have a little bit more money that you want to spend, this here is one of my raised bed gardens I started out with right here. Now, really simple, so easy, a kid can do this here. All right. So one of the things I did is I seen this method where I seen these stones right here. So raised beds are good because it allows the water to run down and you won't have root rot. And would you not believe, for all this here, this garden box, I spent $30.
30. Okay, well that sounds budget friendly to me. So how do we get a $30 garden box?
Boom. This is how you do it. All right. These boards here are $2 a piece, and they are treated wood. So being that it's treated wood, you're gonna get a lot of long-lasting wood out there that lasts longer for your box. Now, it doesn't have to be this big. You can cut these to make it for whatever size you want. You can cut these boards and put it here. You might just want a little small box. This is too big, because I wouldn't necessarily make one this big, because if you got something in the middle, you can't reach and get it. It's too far, right? So you have to step in there, and you can risk damaging a lot of your roots and different stuff like this here. But the way you do this here, these things here are like $4. How simple is that? Take 2 boards, and you just fit it in the groove right here.
Now where would I find the stones and where can I find the boards?
Home Depot. If you go to the lumber department, fence boards are always on one side, and they're extremely cheap. And these blocks here are actually where the garden department is, where they have all the other stones and different things like that. They're $3. Now, if you want a more thicker board, if you got extra money, but this will work fine if you ask me. There has a board that will fit up in there perfectly. But you can have these boards cut to put it whatever size you want. Because if I wanted it here, I can put that here and make a box this big.
Okay, and that can be cut at the store, correct? They can cut it for
They
you.
will
if you
cut
don't
it at the
have
store
to.
for you for free. All you have to do is ask them and be nice.
Okay.
You know. So this box here is one of the boxes that I started off with, and I do the same process that I pack it with leaves. I pack it with leaves. I'm talking about I would literally pile those leaves up this high, because eventually, like you said, ask about them getting wet. They're gonna get wet. They're gonna start shrinking. They're gonna start falling down. But what it will do, one thing I left out, in putting the leaves down in this box, you kill all the grass underneath. The leaves will smother out the grass. It's called solarization. You know, that's, yeah, you heard that right. Solarization. So solarization is when, you know, it ain't getting no sunlight.
Okay.
So if you got a grassy area, you ain't got to scrape the grass. Pack those leaves in, it's gonna kill the grass immediately. You won't have no grass growing through it. Put your dirt in, go by your local garden store. You can get some garden bags, or I would tell anybody, if you know someone with a trailer, you can get a yard of garden soil for roughly $45. And that is more than enough to fill this up, better than buying those bags. So one of those bags now are like $15 per bag. You can get enough soil, and this is about a yard right here. So you can get this garden soil, a yard and garden soil, and come up to about right here of soil for maybe $35, $45.
Okay, so I see we have a little bit different of a setup here. You have the boxes, but we also have the arch. What's the advantage of having this setup?
All right, this is my favorite right here, right? The arches, for me, are so pretty because I love walking through here, right? And one of the things I love about it, I love picking my fruit, standing under it, and my fruit is not laying in the dirt. My green beans or cucumbers are not laying in the dirt. And they grow over here, and I have 4 of these right here, and it's just so pretty when you see the fruit and everything hanging down. And it is just amazing. So I feel so good when I'm walking through the garden, you know. But it's like one of the things, and it's inexpensive. It's not a lot of money to do this here. This here is maybe $45, and you can do the same process with the boxes over there. Cut that to where you want it and put in there. Not very much dirt. You're gonna put your leaves in there. Same process. But I use these here to grow my green beans, because green beans, some of the green beans are bush beans and some green beans are vine. I like the vine beans because I don't like to have my vegetables in the dirt. And as you can see right here, this is one of them right here, and they grow from each side like this here.
Okay.
So since the summer was so hot, I had to let it go. It really burned up a lot of different things. So right now I'm in the process of getting seeds from a lot of my plants right? So what I do is leave some of them on. And as you can see here, if you crumble this up and let it dry out right there.
Okay, I see the seeds.
Right
so
there.
We can allow them to stay on the vine, continue to dry out, and then I can come back and reuse these seeds.
You can come back and reuse these seeds, and these seeds last forever. All you gotta do is put them in the refrigerator. And why we buy seeds, I don't know, because most of the vegetables and stuff we buy have seeds in it. All right. But this is what I'm doing towards the end of the season. Because I had a hot summer, I am drying out my seeds so I can collect these, and I have seeds for the spring to start growing these again.
Okay, now I have a couple more questions. If I want to create this archway, what exactly is the wiring that how would I go in the store and ask for that, or where would I be looking to find that?
That is a good question. So this is called cow panel. Cow panel is what they use for cows, holding cows in, making different fences or whatever like this here. But it's galvanized, and galvanized, it keeps it from rusting and different things like that. And this beam that I put in it, it's really easy to do. I get these posts right here, tie them on there with these metal ties.
And those would need to be galvanized as well to make sure they don't rust.
Well, sometimes I go cheap. I'll get a hanger out of my closet. Okay. So I would use those and tie them around there. It doesn't really matter if, long as it's on there tight, and it helps your arch stay perfectly circle. I love the arch because it just looks so cool to me. I don't know. But
I'm sure it's beautiful, especially once you start having the greenery and everything over it.
Garden Eden.
And you could even add lights if you want to make it fancy.
Yes, that's one of the things that just I haven't got around to, but yes, do the arch. The arch, you can do all your vine vegetables. Some people even grow their cantaloupes. Some people grow their small watermelons on there. So you can do your spaghetti squash, anything that vines up and hold on, because these tentacles that they stick out grab onto anything, and once it grab on, it's going to provide the strength to hold that fruit.
Okay. We could put our tomatoes in this, and they would probably vertically grow.
It can vertically grow, and you can just, like, if it gets some places where don't you can just tie it on there. Just some twist ties, some braid ties, little string or anything like that, and it'll hold it up.
So this looks like it would be a good option if you have very limited yard space. If your yard isn't very large, but you want to grow some things that might stretch out. So this would probably be a better option than maybe doing the yard box if you want to grow things that vine out.
If I had to stretch out this spot here to here, where I will occupy all this space right here, instead of that, I got a walkway, and I put my space in the air. That way, I don't have to worry about taking up all my ground, or I ain't got enough space for this, I ain't got enough space for that. Actually, you do have enough space. It's just how you utilize the space that you use. And you can also, I may add, you can also grow vine vegetables at your apartment complex, and I'm gonna tell you how. Everybody has a balcony, right? Well, it's your balcony. You can probably do whatever you like. I don't know, talk to your apartment people first, but you can put your vine vegetables to grow on the balcony trellis, and it can grow there, and you can still pick it, and you don't need a lot of dirt. You don't need a lot of big containers. All you need is just enough soil for the roots to grow in. This is maybe a foot high.
Okay.
That's all you need. You don't need no more than that. You can put 6 different vegetables that you can grow all in one line. And here you have your stuff growing in there, and also it's one pot. So, great way to do things.
Okay. Well, we're over here with some slightly different garden boxes. These look like they would be really beneficial if you have like back problems or something, because they sit much higher, and a lot easier to work with than the ones that we looked at over on the other side that sit a lot lower to the ground.
Yes, these are the premier boxes right here. These boxes here is called hugelkultur. And hugelkultur is a word they use in, I think, German. But hugelkultur here is filled up with tree stumps, leaves, and all types of organic debris. Now, if you can hear this, it's really hollow because it's got these big old tree stumps, and you fill it up with all these different tree stumps and everything like that. And again, you save on soil. Now, it will cost a lot of money to fill this box up with all that dirt. Maybe it has this much dirt in this whole entire box.
Okay.
And that is such a good way because, like I said, the organic matter that's going to break down in there, it's been eaten away by the other bugs, help these plants to grow.
Okay.
And these are my bell peppers right here.
Oh, and those are some beautiful bell peppers. I see it's completely full. They have some nice sized ones
Right.
in here. Let's see. Looks like right in here I see a few different bell peppers.
Now that's 4 on one plant right there. Now, bell peppers are essential to me because I cook with them a lot. I do a lot of catering jobs and different stuff like this here, so I grow a ton of bell peppers. Now, one of these plants, one bell pepper at the store right now, just checked the other day, running you about 98 cents, 89 cents a bell pepper, right? This bell pepper plant right here by itself probably has produced me, since I planted it at the beginning of springtime,
Okay.
probably 40 bell peppers off this one plant.
And that was from a reuse of seeds as well?
A reuse of the seed. I took that same seed, that same bell pepper I bought from the store, took those seeds out, and grew what you see that's here.
Okay, so that basically comes in as free, other than you have to put in a little bit of work.
Right.
Physical labor. Okay. So when you decide what you're going to grow, because I see this is mostly bell peppers and you showed a few other things, what helps you choose what you want to grow? What's the advantage of growing certain vegetables and fruits?
One of the things I most tell people in gardening, I teach a lot of different classes to people, I tell them this: look for the plant or vegetable that help with your health. If you have a health condition that you dealing with, there is a plant. Look that plant up and grow that plant to help your health condition.
Okay.
Because these things, all this stuff has all the nutrition that we need. It comes from these plants. So it's very important that you look up. If you're dealing with a health condition, I guarantee you there's a vegetable or a fruit that you can buy that will help your health condition and better your health. People, grow your own food. I'm not saying if you can try, do the best you can. Our health is so important as believers, as
Yes.
people. We have to be here for our family. Grow your own food or start growing something. Just get into it. It's great to go outside. I know I'm sweating, but I enjoy being out here. It's my peace. I walk out here and this is my peace. It's a part of my health because I get the time to spend talking to God, thinking about my life, and actually growing good healthy foods, and it's just a great thing for me.
So gardening has so many benefits. I mean, you've named, you can save money,
Right.
and there's so many cost-efficient ways to be able to start a garden, because it does sometimes look like, oh, that's going to be a very expensive task or
Right.
take a whole lot of labor, but you've showed us today that it doesn't necessarily cost a whole lot of money. There will be some investment, but a
Right.
lot of things, like you said, you can find leaves on the side of the road, you can pick up pots and containers. So there's a lot of costs that can be cut, and you still can bear the fruit of your fruits and vegetables and be able to have something to harvest at the end of the
Oh
season.
my God, you
or
got it.
throughout the season.
You got it.
And then on top of, you have the health benefits
Thank you.
from the labor you have to put into the garden, as well as that mental time for clarity when it's a
And
nice
we all
quiet
need
time to
that.
work. Yeah.
Our mental health. Our mental health is important too. That right there is probably one of the most important things, our mental health. It gives me peace, it gives me enjoyment and fulfillment. And all the excuses of people saying, oh, it costs this here, oh, I ain't got time for this here. You're gonna have time to go to the doctor, You got to go time to pick up those
Yeah.
prescriptions. You got time to do all the things that we have to do because of our health. But we can prevent it. We can try.
Now, do I have to be concerned because you're saying also we can get out, we can grow our own things, but what about those of us who may be a little bit scared of the pests that may come into the garden? Because that sometimes is a hindrance because some people don't like bugs. Although, like you said, the bugs can be beneficial. They're not all hard and bad for
Right.
the garden, but there are some bugs that are beneficial, like the worms. But what things can we do to help limit the amount of pests that we have to deal with?
The reason why these bugs eat your garden, because they know naturally what are good foods to eat. So if they're not eating it, why would we eat it? Don't make sense.
Yeah.
So the stuff that, if you see somebody that say that they don't deal with pests or bugs or anything like this here, and the bugs not eating their garden, I don't want to eat their vegetables. I don't want to eat their fruit because something is wrong with it. This is the way God intended. But it changed my life to understanding that I have this whole entire field behind my yard, and that bug knows what to come to eat nutrition from.
Yeah.
So who the smarter person here, us or that bug? I think that bug got something. He's not eating the stuff that he knows not to eat. He eating the things that he knows is good for him and that's vital to his life. Just like these things are vital to our lives. So I deal with them. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I don't like them.
Yeah.
I do not like them. But there's a lot of natural things that you can get for your bugs. You can use Nemo oil. You can use mothballs. You can use certain different things as household materials that can do it.
So I can use things
Right.
that I may already have or that I can purchase at the garden store or the grocery store, and I can use that to help hinder some of the pests. But it's just a natural part of gardening.
It's
is
a
what
natural
you're saying.
part of gardening.
And I don't have to spray everything down with pesticides to create the same thing that I'm getting at the grocery store the majority of the time.
These plants have not been sprayed with any type of pesticides on them. And as you can see, they're all green, they're all healthy. And I don't put those pesticides on it because if you run the bugs away, the bugs actually help and come and pollinate some of your different vegetables. Well, if the pollinators don't come, your harvest won't come.
Yeah.
So why spray them down with this stuff to keep the bugs away? Nah, they got instances where you do have to, if it's an infestation, where there's a lot of them, sometimes you do have to do that.
Okay, and now we're talking about making a selection on the things that we want to grow. We're coming, like you said, at the end of the summer season, so these would have been things we would have planted in the spring and the summer. So we're kind of going into a new season of the type of fruits and vegetables that we'll plant. So if we want to start a garden for the fall, which may be easier to start because the weather will get a little bit better, it won't be quite as hot as it is today.
Right.
So what types of things, if I wanted to get the most nutrient dense, the thing that would be most beneficial to my health, and also the easiest to grow in the climate of South Louisiana, what would be your suggestions of where I should start?
You can look at different websites and go see what you should plant in the month that you're in. And that way you can have an idea of where to start finding these vegetables that connect with your health, that can help your health, and grow those different things that help in those areas. Also, what grows in that particular season. We're coming into the fall, so you need to grow vegetables that is frost resistant and they continue to grow around this time. So yes, one of my favorites are those greens.
Okay, so if I'm starting my garden in the fall, I want to harvest things through most of the winter. Are there any changes that I need to make as far as making it easier to cover them if I have a night that's very cold, where I know that sometimes they'll give like a frost warning to say that we need to protect our plants. What would I need to do in order to make sure that I don't end up with damaged vegetables?
Well, for this particular box, I put these arches over there, I put my seedlings in, and I put a tarp over it to protect them from the frost. Also, frost lays on things, like if you have it in the open, it can cause anything to rot out or die or anything like that. But if you put it under your car porch, As long as it has a cover on it, it can be safe from the frost laying on top of it and keep it from freezing or anything like that. But some plants don't care about the frost. It will continue to grow. Like collard greens, it can practically take snow on it and it won't kill collard greens. It actually helps them. Now, if we get to freezing temperatures, well, it may take them out just a tad, but they continue to grow.
Okay, so that would probably be a better selection, would probably be to put those in a garden box. If I wanted to have garden boxes,
Right.
that would probably be a plant that would be okay, that I don't have to worry quite so much. But I mean, the weather rarely ever gets that cold here, but
It's
occasionally
Louisiana.
it does. So just in pre-planning how I want to set everything up, collard greens would probably be good for the garden box.
Yes.
Now, what things would I probably want to consider? Okay, you need to put that in a container, because there, if it gets to freezing, I definitely need to bring the things that would be a definite, you need to bring it under the carport or in the house, or make sure that it's covered.
Well, I would say spinach. I like a lot of spinach. Spinach, you can, matter of fact, I grow spinach inside of my home in a little container for my salads. I pick it off, throw it in there. But spinach is one of the ones you might want to keep it from the frost, because the leaves a little small, a little bit tender, but it's really frost resistant on certain levels. Depends on the temperature. You can grow those type of things.
Okay, well, this was a really interesting presentation. I learned a lot and realized it doesn't have to be a whole lot to get my own garden started. And I'm sure everyone else has learned so much. I just want to say thank you for going through this entire presentation with us. And I also want to say, if you have any questions or anything that you didn't see addressed on the presentation tonight, just make it a point to go ahead and put your questions or comments inside of the comment area on whatever platform you're viewing, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, and it would be greatly appreciated. We'll try